You're watching KSG News, and we are here to get you all the latest updates from across the world as you prepare for your examinations. We begin with updates related to GS Paper 3. This is in connection with economy. On the 15th of February, the Reserve Bank of India set up a committee to draw a vision document for strengthening urban cooperative banks and exploring the potential of consolidation in the sector. The committee, to be headed by former RBI Deputy Governor N.S. Vishwanathan, will suggest effective measures for faster rehabilitation and resolution of urban cooperative banks or UCBs, and also assess their potential for consolidation in the sector. Now, what does this mean? According to the terms of reference, the panel will draw up a vision document for a vibrant and resilient urban cooperative banking sector, having regards to the principles of cooperation as well as depositors' interest and systemic issues. The committee will have to submit its report to the RBI in 3 months. The 8-member panel, including former chairman of NABARD, Harsh Kumar Bhanwala, will also review the current regulatory and supervisory approach and recommend suitable measures to strengthen the sector, taking into account recent amendments to the Banking Regulation Act 1949. As per the terms of reference of the committee, it will take stock of the regulatory measures taken by the Reserve Bank and other authorities in respect of UCBs and assess their impact over the last 5 years to identify key constraints and enablers, if any, in fulfillment of their socio-economic objective. Among other things, the committee will consider the need for differential regulations and examine prospects to allow more leeway in permissible activities for UCBs with a view to enhance their resilience. As part of the statement on developmental and regulatory policies released along with the monetary policy statement on the 5th of February 2021, the Reserve Bank has announced setting up of an expert committee on UCBs to examine the issues and to provide a roadmap for strengthening the sector, leveraging on the recent amendments to Banking Regulation Act 1949. Following the amendment, all urban cooperative banks and multi-state cooperative banks have come under the supervision of the Reserve Bank of India. There are 1,482 urban cooperative banks and 58 multi-state cooperative banks having about 8.6 crore depositors with total savings deposit of about 4.85 lakh crore rupees. And now we move on to GS Paper 1. The updates are related to geography. The Ministry of Science and Technology on the 15th of February announced the sweeping changes to the country's mapping policy, specifically for Indian companies, to enable them to create substantial advances in mapping and ultimately empowering small businesses. What is readily available globally does not need to be restricted in India, and therefore geospatial data that used to be restricted will now be freely available in India. The country's corporations and innovators are no longer subject to restrictions, nor do they require prior approvals before they collect, generate, prepare, disseminate, store, publish, and update digital geospatial data and maps within the territory of India. The Ministry of Science and Technology's press release says that the government has taken a decision liberalizing policies governing the acquisition and production of geospatial data is a massive step in the vision for an Atmanirbhar Bharat. The release says, and I quote, "Our startups and mapping innovators will be trusted to select, certify, apply good judgment, and be relied upon to demonstrate adherence to guidelines. In addition, measures to promote the development of Indian geospatial innovations that take advantage of the latest map-making technologies are proposed." Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that the latest reforms will unlock tremendous opportunities for our country's startups, adding that farmers will also be benefited by leveraging the potential of geospatial and remote sensing data. Unquote. So what is geospatial data? Geospatial data is data about objects, events, or phenomena that have a location on the surface of the earth. The location may be static in the short term, like the location of a road, an earthquake event, malnutrition among children, or dynamic like a moving vehicle or pedestrian, the spread of an infectious disease. Geospatial data combines location information, attribute information, and often also temporal information or the time at which the location and attributes exist. Geospatial data usually involves information of public interest such as roads, localities, rail lines, water bodies, and public amenities. The past decade has seen an increase in the use of geospatial data in daily life with various apps such as food delivery apps like Swiggy or Zomato, e-commerce like Amazon, or even weather apps. Shifting focus to GS Paper 3, this is in relation to space and technology. Using NASA's Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite or the TESS, astronomers have discovered a young star called TOI 451 with 3 planets revolving around it. The recently discovered mini solar system is located in the Eridanus constellation, which is a part of the Pisces-Eridanus stream. The star of this system is 400 light years away from us and is just 120 million years old, which makes it a lot younger when compared to our Sun. The 3 hot planets orbiting it were discovered while studying images taken by TSS or TESS between October and December 2018. The reason why astronomers are interested in exploring these planets is because their size can help them understand how planetary atmosphere evolves, given the system is not that far off from the Earth. This system checks a lot of boxes for astronomers. It's only 120 million years old and just 400 light years away, allowing detailed observations of this young planetary system. And because there are 3 planets between 2 and 4 times Earth's size, they make especially promising targets for testing theories about how planetary atmospheres evolve. Elizabeth Newton, the assistant professor of physics and astronomy at Dartmouth College in Hanover, New Hampshire, who led the research, said in a press statement that because there are 3 planets between 2 and 4 times Earth's size, they make specially promising targets for testing theories about how planetary atmospheres evolve. According to NASA, the nearest planet to this star, named TOI 451b, is just 0.03 astronomical unit away and completes its orbit in just 1.9 days. The planet is 1.9 times Earth's size. The second planet, called TOI 451c, is 3 times the Earth's size and completes its orbit in 9.2 days, while the third planet, TOI 451d, is 4 times the Earth's size and has a 16-day orbit. The temperatures on these planets range from 1200 degrees Celsius to 450 degrees Celsius, making them inhospitable. The reason is that even TOI 451's most distant planet orbits 3 times closer than Mercury ever approaches the Sun, which results in the higher temperatures. However, the Sun of this solar system has 95% of our Sun's mass and is 12% smaller in size. It also emits 35% less energy and is considerably faster than our Sun, completing a rotation in just 5.1 days. And now updates related to the GS Paper 3. India's government has shortlisted 4 mid-sized state-run banks for privatisation under a new push to sell state assets and shore up government revenues. Privatisation of the banking sector, which is dominated by state-run behemoths with the hundreds of thousands of employees, is politically risky because it could put jobs at risk, but the government aims to make a start with the second-tier banks. Now, what does this mean? The 4 banks on the shortlist are Bank of Maharashtra, Bank of India, Indian Overseas Bank, and the Central Bank of India. 2 of those banks will be selected for this sale in 2021 and 2022 financial year, which begins in April. The shortlist has not previously been reported. The government is considering mid-sized to small banks for its first round of privatization to test the waters. In the coming years, it could also look at some of the country's bigger banks. The government, however, will continue to hold a majority stake in India's largest lender, State Bank of India, which is seen as a strategic bank for implementing initiatives such as expanding rural credit. New Delhi also wants to overhaul a banking sector reeling under a heavy load of non-performing assets, which are likely to rise further once banks are allowed to categorize loans that soured during the pandemic as bad. And now some news related to history. This is for the GS paper 1. Researchers have discovered 3 fossils of the earliest known living animal, the 550 million year old Dickinsonia, on the roof of the Bhimbetka rock shelters about 40 kilometers from Bhopal. One can identify the fossils from the white leaf-like patches with the central vertebra and connecting veins. While one fossil is 17 inches long, the other 2 are much smaller. The new discoveries can be seen right at the beginning of the Auditorium Cave, the first of such caves at Bhimbetka, a UNESCO heritage site located about 3.5 meters above the ground. Geological Survey of India's Bhopal in charge Tapan Pal, who had come to visit the site, said that they were the only such fossils available in the country and was similar to those seen in South Australia. This is further proof of the similar paleo-environments and confirms assembly of Gondwana land by the 550 mega-annum, but not reconstructions adjusted for true polar wonder. And now we shift focus to GS paper 3, news from the world of defense technology. In a step that would establish its superiority in air combat over China and Pakistan, India would start testing the Astra Mark II beyond the visual range air-to-air missile, which would be capable of taking down enemy aircraft from a range of 160 kilometers. The extended range Astra Mark II would give India an edge over its adversaries and would add more lethality to its fighter jets in aerial combat, like the one which happened a day after the Balakot airstrikes on the 26th of February 2019. The trial for the Astra Mark would be starting in the second half of this year, and we are hoping to see the missile fully developed by 2022. The Astra is a beyond visual range air-to-air missile which flies over 4 times the speed of sound at the Mach 4.5. Efforts are now on to integrate the over 100 km strike range missile on the indigenous fighter aircraft LCA TEJAS. The all-weather day and night capable Astra, which currently has a strike range of around 100 kilometers, will eventually replace the expensive Russian, French and Israeli BVRAAMs that are currently imported to arm the IAF fighters. The Indian Air Force and Indian Navy have already given orders for 288 Astra Mark I missiles, which are already proven on the Russian-origin Sukhoi 30 MKI fighters. That's it from our side in this video. Do stay tuned to KSG News for more such informative videos for your exam preparations.